I guess the hard part of being the number one brand boot in the world for a long time is that makes you a target for every one of those competitors. They're trying to mimic your success. We've seen what's happened in pure BEV trucks in that customers are disappointed in the range and then the capability when you're actually using that truck for truck things, for lack of a better term. So for us, it's really going to be about displaying just how much of an unlock this is, where you don't have to make sacrifices. I guess my point is just working it from top to bottom to diagnose and say, where are the issues, where are the opportunities? Because the absolute numbers are the absolute numbers. That's always going to be the thing. If you set the plan out in advance, have a good strategy from the onset, that you're able to have a lot more measurable success. You're able to drive that business better, because at the end of the day, sales matter. We're all here to sell things and make money. And if we grow that appropriately, we'll grow it to the point where sales will lift as a result.
Hello, everyone. Today we have with us Nate Buelow, VP of Marketing and Digital Transformation at Stellantis. Nate is a seasoned marketing leader with a non-traditional background spanning analytics, account management, and client-side leadership. And he has overseen marketing budgets exceeding $500 million. Nate, excited to have you and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Nate, you started as a digital analyst at a small agency, like something different from most CMO track careers. How did someone who started reading data end up running $500 million marketing budgets for one of the world's biggest automakers?
Yeah, I think it's a very fair question. Non-traditional track for sure. When I got into the advertising industry, data was still relatively at its infancy of actually dissecting it and looking at it. And I always had a knack for being able to look at numbers and make a pivot table in Excel. And that was actually a more valuable skill than it is today with the advent of AI. But the reality of it is what I tell any interns or any young university student that I talk to is just say yes to a lot of stuff, and it opens up a lot of doors. I love all aspects of marketing. I love the fact that it has given me the opportunity to work on some of the most incredible clients in the world, some of the most incredible brands in the world. But I didn't get there by just sitting back and doing my data sheets and running reports and building Tableau views. It was active. And when an account role came up, yeah, why not? I'd love to do an account role and see what that's like. I'd love to not have to answer to the account person I didn't particularly like at the time. Same thing with the brand side. I mean, I didn't come into the role when I transitioned over to the client. I didn't have a ton of experience in experiential or CRM, but I said yes. I had great people surrounding me and great team members, and we figured it out. So it's been a great ride and an incredible journey up to this.
You describe yourself as a marketing multi-tool. Most senior marketers specialize. You deliberately did not. Was that a strategy, or did you just, keep saying yes to things?
It was absolutely a strategy. One of the things, I'm born and raised in Detroit. So one of the things that I observed when I came into the industry is a lot of folks would get into an automotive client from an ad agency side, and they would stay with their client their whole career. They would always work on a particular brand or particular business. I'm not nothing against that. Like there are tons of benefits, but I was very particular that I wanted to go work on a whole bunch of different stuff, because especially younger in my career, it affords you that opportunity. Like you can screw up, you can go learn things, and people are a lot more forgiving about, hey, you're going to work on the insurance business as an example. You got to learn what that business is and what those clients demand. But I've also gotten to work on businesses that are completely different than that. I've done everything and had clients with laser hair removal. Never thought I'd work on that. Hilton Hotels, Nationwide Insurance, travel and tourism stuff for the state of Michigan. It has given me a lot of opportunities to be diversified, and now I get to bring those skill sets and those learnings into my current role, which it provides me a lot more diversified experience and knowledge than if I just worked on cars my entire career.
Right. You also spent time at Merrill, the number one hiking boot in the world. And that too at the time when Hoka and On, were eating the market share. You described watching the market share charts and seeing the brand get cannibalized. Walk me through like what you actually did to turn that around and what was the hardest part of it?
Yeah, it's a great question. It was an interesting time. It was just as COVID was starting to wane, I think we were all still wearing masks going around. Office returns were just starting to happen. And I had that opportunity to go work at Merrill. And it's for me, I guess in my career, I've always loved working on brands that I have a personal passion for and products that I actually use. And Merrill was one of those products. I've been wearing Merrill Moabs for as long as I can remember when I go out hiking. And it was an incredible opportunity because they were losing market share to competitors like On and I forget who else, Hoka. And we saw an opportunity. It's, I guess, part of or the hard part of being the number one brand boot in the world for a long time is that makes you a target for every one of those competitors. They're trying to mimic your success. And we had a lot of business challenges coming out of COVID that were impacting the business and impacting the performance of the business. So we took a really targeted approach. I think one, we redesigned the product and launched it very quickly to launch the Moab 3 versus the Moab 2, which was it was time. It was time for an advancement and a product that our consumers were asking for and listening to those consumers and making adjustments and tweaks to make it more relevant to them and a better fit. So we did that. Then we worked with our retail partners and partnered with them as their business was returning and customers were starting to come back into those retail stores. Yet there was a huge spike in direct to consumer business across the board for outdoor footwear during COVID. We saw that actually sustaining. It was just how the customers were buying it is they wanted to go into the store. They wanted to try on the shoe or boot. So finding the ways to strengthen those relationships and do a little bit more intentional co-op dollars with folks like our one of our biggest clients was REI buying those boots. So making sure that we strengthen that and have the green vest backing of this new boot as we got it back into market. But the third thing is we were a little bit more proactive in the marketing that whereas before it was a little bit of a passive business. We were happy to get the customers that we wanted. We did some very intentional partnerships and marketing initiatives, finding the right co-influencers, co-designers for these shoes for limited edition drops, which I get it is very different than like the running shoe culture where there's a new drop every week seemingly. But it had an impact and it got us net new customers and with an improved product, with a stronger marketing approach, a better wholesale distribution plan, and more powerful marketing to reach more consumers, we're able to drive that business and get Merrill back to where it should be at number one in the hiking category.
Right. Jeep Wave, Easter Jeep Safari, Jeep Adventure, Dodge Enthusiast events. You keep gravitating towards brands with identity driven, community obsessed customers. What is it about that type of brand that you find the most interesting to market and also most challenging?
Yeah, I think the good part about that is those brands that consumers have a passion for. At the end of the day, if we were selling, I don't know, appliances as an example, it, how much do you care how your refrigerator is working? Or do you just care that it keeps your food cold? I like the fact that the brands that I've had the opportunity to work on and the team members and the consumers that I get the chance to interact with, they care and there's a passion for it. We're not just selling some transactional item. We're selling, in this instance, with the vehicles that you mentioned in Jeep and Dodge, we're selling the second largest purchase that most consumers will ever make in their life. So it's important that you care about it. It's important that you care when you walk out of your car after parking it in a parking lot or truck or Jeep, whatever the case may be. You look back and say, yeah, that's my car. So I think that's the part that's very rewarding because those consumers are one, they're super vocal. They love to tell you when you're doing something wrong. And conversely, they'll tell you when you're doing something right too, which is pretty rewarding. Two, it's rewarding in that when you see a community grow and you see culture grow around a brand, it's impressive in the years that it takes to build that because none of that is overnight. Authenticity is not bought, it's built. That you get to look back and see what take that community from, whether it's small or large for that matter, and how it's grown and evolved over time and how new customers came into it and how the business changes a net result of those things. Because at the end of the day, sales matter. We're all here to sell things and make money. And if we grow that appropriately, we'll grow it to the point where sales will lift as a result. The hardest part is that takes time and that is challenging. And again, the consumer voice is they're very vocal about it now. Everybody has a forum. Everybody can go online. Everybody can start a podcast or an Instagram account, and they will tell you how bad you are. And that's a challenge. But it's also a challenge where I'll give you the example on the Ram brand. We had a few YouTube creators who were very intelligent. They were great at getting insider information and they love to break things. Break things as in they break the story about them, right? Like they would get the scoop, they would get an insider that would give them intel. And they would also have some negative opinions about the things that we were doing. They were very vocal about it, and they grew a really manageable, sizable audience as a result of that. We could have done one or two things. We could have ignored them and said, listen, guys, we don't want you involved. We don't want you a part of our brands. We don't want to give you anything inside. Stay on the outside. Or we could pull them in. And we decided to pull them in. And while they're still critical of us at times, and rightfully so, they have their venue, their forum. They're now at least more open when we take them through a new product, take them through a launch. This is why we did it. And it just helps them understand the business that drives behind it. And it's not just a blanket press release that they picked up or a spy shot that they were able to acquire. And it's now they at least get the strategy behind it. And it helps inform the narrative.
Right. You also coordinated Ram trucks as a central character in Twisters, the film. You called the truck basically the third main character. Getting a brand integration that deep into a major studio film. And then also, like, with the dealer viewing parties and product launches layered on top, how does that actually come together?
Yeah, I wish I could take credit for all of that. We have an absolutely incredible team here that is doing it, as well as agency partners that helped coordinate and manage all of that. So it was the reason why I say that is it was truly a 360 effort. So we knew we had the vehicle in the film, which was phenomenal, right? The original Twisters was iconic. That red Dodge Ram that drove around with Dorothy in the back was one of those film integrations that will never go away and be a case study for years to come. Is that's a legacy that we knew we had to live up to. The film, the director, Glenn in this instance, driving the truck, he did a phenomenal job, and that part was done. So we had that piece of content, but the team really challenged ourselves to say, okay, how are we going to make this bigger? What are the other extensions that we can do? So we started by asking ourselves, okay, well, we could do a step and repeat at the movie premiere and all that stuff. That feels very turnkey, but how do we do more? How do we get more consumers aware of not just the film, but the vehicle integration in the film? Because it's basically an hour and a half Dodge Ram commercial. It's incredible. So we acquired the footage from the studios and licensed it. We did a co-promotional agreement. We challenged our agency partners for our dealer tier 3 POS kits. How do you make this a central part of it to change the narrative around Ram? We were launching the RHO at the time, which is one of the highest performance off-road trucks in the industry. We said, well, we're going to film a launch video for this anyways. Well, why don't we just integrate Glenn Powell? Glenn come out and do this and shoot it with us and jump some trucks and drive them really fast and do all this crazy stuff. And by the time we stood back and looked at the portfolio of all the different things that we were doing around it, it became much bigger than just an incredible film integration, which it was. It was truly a 360 marketing campaign that we were able to not only message at that moment in time when the film came out, but for months to come, that it didn't just become a reach and frequency builder. It became something that immediately got consumers associated with the Ram truck brand and everything that it can do.
Hey, we hope you're enjoying the coffee and the conversation so far. This show is powered by Digital Web Solutions, and if you've ever wondered how the biggest brands actually build authority, this is it. DWS has a massive network of over 250,000 publishers, real sites that help you rank on Google, and more importantly, stay visible in AI search. It's the heavy lifting most teams just can't do on their own. As a thank you for listening, they're offering an exclusive free strategy call just for our eCoffee listeners. It's a great way to map out your authority plan for 2026. Just click the link below to book yours and see how they can help scale your brand. All right, now let's get back to the show.
Right. You also mentioned that the first thing you and your team do every morning is pour through demand metrics, website visits, leads, dealer foot traffic. Most marketing leaders talk about being data driven. You have turned that into a daily operational ritual. What does that first 30 minutes look like, and what specifically are you looking for that tells you whether it's going to be a normal day or a red light day?
Yeah, outside of a tag dropping or something like that, where we see zero data that we have to go fix, that's definitely a red light day, and those things happen. But for us, what we try to look at is what are those metrics that are actually driving our business and changing our business. So we start there. And we look at it at a brand level because Dodge behaves differently than Ram, then behaves differently than Jeep, than Chrysler does. Again, just different nameplates, different customers. It's one of the beauties of being a part of this incredible house of brands is each one of those brands behaves differently and their customers are very different from one another. But then we start to just pour at it at more and more granularity. What are the nameplates within those things? Was there an opportunity with Wrangler? Did Grand Cherokee suddenly pop the numbers because we had a great PR story that went out the night before and customers saw it and resonated and came back? Or conversely, if suddenly traffic or lead volume or anything are down, is well, what changed? And we just keep working down that pool of granularity to say, is it a media problem, which it could be? Is it a CX problem, which again, it could be? Did images not load, buttons not fire? Who knows? Was it an earned media problem? Did we have a great earned media story the day before that got us a ton of coverage and now it's fallen off the absolute planet because, well, we don't have that every single day. I guess my point is just working it from top to bottom to diagnose and say, where are the issues? Where are the opportunities? Are there specific markets that we need to change and improve upon? Did anybody fall outside the norm? Because the absolute numbers are the absolute numbers. That's always going to be the thing. The way our team tries to focus in on is the trend. Well, how is it moving? Was there big shifts? Are we negatively trending? Are we positively trending? And to be honest, do we always get it right? No, we don't, but we do our best to be at the forefront of it to try and get ahead of those problems rather than be chasing those problems and having those red light days that happen.
Right. As a marketing leader, you always put majority of your investment into channels that have already proven and then you reserve some for testing. How do you decide what gets into the test bucket and how long do you give something before you either pull the plug or scale it?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. And the answer is it depends. So that there are some tests are 30 days, some tests are 90 days, some tests are easy to flip if we're doing something in Target to make an adjustment to a color, a font, a location. Some things are harder where we're, signing up a new media partner and we're gauging them based on the performance that we were able to observe in the marketplace. So you have to let that run for a little bit, let their audiences build, the retargeting pool build, all of it. The way that we vet them though is first we start with the customer. What is the customer that we're trying to achieve, or is the customer experience that we're trying to make better? Second, we look at what are those measurable objectives that we're going to hold this partner accountable to, and how are we going to define success? And third, is this something that we actually believe in should be a part of our plan? Because there's nothing that drives me crazy, and I think my team would vouch for me on this if they were here, is testing for testing's sake. It's great. It's great to know whether or not a new partner, a new program, whatever would work. The reality of it is, though, if you don't have a plan to permanently onboard this partner and a home to park them, then what's the point of testing it? Because all we're going to learn is, okay, well, it's great. You can tell me it's sunny outside behind me, but it doesn't change how I'm going to behave for the day.
Right. You retired one of the most iconic engines in automotive history, the Hemi. The one from those Got a Hemi commercials that you grew up watching. You now have to convince your most loyal customers that, Hemi is gone. How do you come up with that marketing and how do you handle that?
Yeah, that was probably one of the most challenging things that we've ever had to do from a Ram truck brand perspective. And, part of the thing is we got customer feedback that they didn't love that we pulled away their freedom of choice and took the Hemi out of their lineup. So we brought it back because that I think is one thing that we really try to do with our customers is listen to their feedback. But the the piece that we have been trying to do, and we've got a lot of room to continue to grow, is with the new straight six Hurricane engine, is it delivers on a lot of the promises that made those early Hemi commercials and the early Hemi products so successful, which is our customers are looking for power and performance. And for a pickup truck customer, that can mean a lot of different things. It's not necessarily smoky burnouts all the time. It's towing, it's payload, it's reliability, it's fuel efficiency to some degree while you're doing all of those things. So really trying to message that at the end of the day, the twin turbo high output Hurricane at 540 horsepower is more powerful than a 5.7 liter Hemi. Does it sound exactly the same? No, it doesn't. And there are customers that are buying based on that. So we want to have that freedom of choice for those customers to be able to select it. But it was staying true to our core, being authentic to our customers and saying, well, this is why a lot of them buy a Ram truck. So we need to deliver on those promises and make sure that we don't fall short, despite maybe not having that signature Hemi sound from the start on the new Hurricane.
Yeah. I mean, I like the Dodge just for the sound. So, you
It,
know,
that they make some incredible sounds and we love them too. And that I think has been one of the things that's been very refreshing for us here is, again, that the customer feedback that you just provided us, we take that back and we make those adjustments in the plan to make sure our customers love us and want to buy more vehicles from us and also just be proud of their vehicles. These things are incredible.
right. The Ram Charger is a range extended EV. In fact, it doesn't have any real competition, for most truck buyers. You have described the messaging challenge as complexity, but you also described it as your most exciting product. How do you market something when you have to invent the category and sell the product at the same time?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm going to be discreet in what I reveal here because we haven't got all the marketing campaigns and all the product stuff launched. And just in case some of my competitors are listening, we'll keep some close stuff close to the chest. But I think in a new technology like that, where you have all of the benefits of an electrified powertrain, right? The immediate torque, the quiet running when you're driving down the road, those benefits, as well as the towing and hauling that an electric truck or any truck customer, I should say, has come to expect. We've seen what's happened in pure BEV trucks in that customers are disappointed in the range and then the capability when you're actually using that truck for truck things, for lack of a better term. So for us, it's really going to be about displaying just how much of an unlock this is, where you don't have to make sacrifices. And again, if you want a gas truck to do all those things, we got 'em. We'll keep building them. We love them too. But for a lot of customers, they want that emotional alibi of I drive an electric vehicle. And this still has all those electrification benefits. You just now have a range extender under the hood that allows you to, as an example, if you're towing a trailer with a BEV, you have to disconnect it in many cases, park it off to the side, and then pull up to a charging station to be able to charge your vehicle while you're towing and hauling and doing the stuff you want. With the new Ram Charger slash we have renamed it the new Rev, you have this opportunity to just pull up to a gas pump like you normally would, fill up your range extended generator, and keep on going. And you're still being all of the power is being put down through those EDMs, those electric drive modules. So there's no sacrifices there. It's going to be a very innovative product. We've gotten the chance to drive them. They are an absolutely incredible experience, and I can't wait for us to launch it and reveal it and get our customers behind the wheel.
Yeah, I think for EV you're right. It's also about that mental barrier, right? I mean, if I am, driving a truck, will an EV be able to hold that? But that thought of, the extension, the range extension, I think, that sounds very interesting, and let's see how that goes. Really looking forward to it.
Same. Thank you.
See, it's very easy, Nate, to say that we lead with the customer problems, especially in an enterprise when you have legal, you have engineering, you have a product team. But you guys have actually, proven that and shown that you lead with customer feedback. But then how do you handle that in an enterprise of that scale?
Yeah, and it's complex, as I think everybody listening, yourself, can imagine. There are so many different stakeholders that you have to convince on one thing or another. The good news, I would say, from our end that makes it slightly easier is, as an example, we do go to a lot of enthusiast events, not because our jobs force us to be there. It's because we want to be there with our customers and we're enthusiasts too. So it's something to easily, just be a part of and get excited about. I don't mind spending my Saturday at a Jeep event, hanging out on the trail with customers, getting their feedback because I like doing that stuff too. But then In addition to all those real life examples, doing the social listening, seeing what the commentators are either poking fun at us for or maybe have suggestions about, it gives us that forum to discuss internally and be able to say, okay, is this the right thing? Is this the wrong thing? How should we be doing this differently? What are the areas of growth? What are the areas of opportunity? And it at least creates a dialogue for all those governance meetings that exist for all the different facets of the business that you mentioned, product, incentives, all of that stuff. And we can then use that as a way to facilitate and make decisions. Does one single customer comment on Instagram drive our business? Absolutely not. When we see a theme of comments that are arising, like we talked about on the Hemi issue, then we're able to course correct and make an adjustment to improve the business and improve the customer experience.
Right. You started agency side and then the brand. What do you think are those things that the agency side taught you that the brand side would never have?
It's a really fair point. I think for me, I'm glad I started agency side because you get a new appreciation for what all of the folks that are working on clients' business go through on a day to day basis. It's not to say I don't make crazy client requests. I absolutely do. Totally guilty of that. But do we try to minimize those? Do we know as clients the importance of a brief and outlining those key success metrics, those key customer problems, those key objectives from the onset? Yes, and those are all things that I learned on the back end when I was at an agency because I would get some briefs that were terrible. I won't call any clients, and it resulted in bad work. Like we either couldn't measure it right or it fell short of the client's expectations. I'm not saying we didn't have any fault in that, but it shows that if you set the plan out in advance, have a good strategy from the onset, that you're able to have a lot more measurable success. You're able to drive that business better. And I think now being on the client side, it's something that we carry forward with and that we inherently know that we have to do a really good job on some of that type of stuff. Put together a strategy, put together a plan, put together a customer problem, and then let our partners from an agency side help us solve because they come up with some brilliant creative ways when they're set up in the right structure.
Right. Personalization has been discussed for years, but AI is changing what customers expect from the digital experience. What does useful personalization look like in automotive?
Yeah, I think it's even a lot of our stuff comes down to regionalization, I think is one component of it. So whether that's incentives and a customer in a certain market will be higher likely to lease versus purchase at retail versus take a special APR rate. Well, we don't control the incentives budget from a marketing side of things. We do have the ability to message that better. So getting more finite in that and getting those right next message to the right customer at the right time, that we can do. And we made a lot of strides over the last year to be able to deliver that and make the current investment that we do from a customer facing perspective that much more effective in the marketplace. The the second piece on that is showing the customer the right product. You look at something like a Jeep Wrangler that we have a flurry of options. We just launched this 12 for 12 Buzz model series where it's a different type of Jeep Wrangler for each different type of Jeep Wrangler customer. Some people like flannel seats, some people like a flat green paint. Being able to message those types of customers and know who those customers are of who likes what has again, it just makes our media more effective and it connects that customer back to our brand in ways that we maybe haven't been as effective in before. Is it all perfect yet? No. Are those just a couple of use cases of ways that we're doing it? Yeah, they are, but it permeates in a lot of the stuff that we are doing to make that more effective. Even for us, as we get Stellantis Financial, our captive finance arm, as we get that more ingrained to do everything that we do, it allows us to maintain stronger loyalty, a better customer experience, a more consistent message from us versus I'm sure you get them too. I get 5 million texts a day from brands that I've signed up for from Comzon, and it just feels, in some cases, very curated, in other cases, very disparate. And those brands that have that disparate experience, they get the unsubscribe because I don't want to have a bunch of crazy messages coming in at all times. So long-winded way to say we're trying to do better, and I think those are some of the ways that we can stream.
What next for Nate Buelow?
I love growing and continuing to build this business here. I mean, we've had a lot of success. The Ram Truck brand is absolutely on fire. Ram Trucks is back in NASCAR. We just launched the all new Rumblebee, which is a new segment of muscle trucks that we're inventing. And we had an incredible launch. The numbers speak for themselves. If you're into cars and are on social media, you probably saw some of that coverage. I think for us, that piece has been really good. Now we have to continue that growth across our portfolio. And we just announced our Dare Forward 2030 plan of how we're going to grow this business. And we are going to grow this business. We're going to enter into some new segments that we're not in today, and we're going to get some new customers back into our portfolio. We're going to get our dealer partners more of that business that we haven't had a lot of good offerings in for a while. So I'm incredibly excited for the future of Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram and what we're going to be able to do in the business. And I can't wait for customers to see some of these new products that we're bringing to market because they will be absolutely thrilled. It's all fueled by their commentary, their feedback, and it will be something that I think we can all get excited.
Well, Nate, I mean, I look forward to it as well. I love the brand. Like I said, I love the Dodge, I love the Jeep, and I wish you guys all the best. And thank you so much for, taking out time and coming on the show.
No, thank you. And thank you to the audience for listening. Really appreciate it.